Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be a very special video. I need all of your guys' help to welcome the amazingly talented voice actor, Kelsey Jaffer, to the video.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yes, and we're so glad that you are here. I guess, how are you doing and how's everything going?
Life is good. Just living life, doing auditions sometimes, walking my dog other times. Life is okay.
You know, you can't ask for much more than that. And
No, truly. It is the life I want to be living.
perfect. I mean, if you're having fun, then you're never working a day in your life, is what they always say.
For sure.
Yes, thank you so much for hopping on here today. Can we start? Just tell us a little about yourself. What's your background like?
Yeah, so I'm a voice actor and started out doing theater when I was like very small. And then my mom and my aunt did theater a lot, and I would go be in the theater while my mom had rehearsals, and I'd be doing my homework in elementary school,
Mm.
watching rehearsal and doing math homework, and it was super cool, and I was like, I want to do that. So then I did community theater. And then when I could start doing it in school, I did, joined ITS, which is the International Thespian Society,
Ooh.
in high school. And then went to, in college, double majored in theater and vocal performance, which is opera slash vocal pedagogy. And then um, did mostly theater on camera and taught voice for 5 years. Then the pandemic
Mm.
happened, and I had done some voiceover before, but it was never a focus for me. And then I was like, and I also just didn't think that you could do voiceover
Hmm.
well remotely, but also I was like, oh, all that character stuff, for video games and anime and stuff, I can't do that, which is so weird because I don't know why I thought that, but I was like, wait, what if I can do that? And then after lockdown ended, I was like, well, voiceover's kind of working and I'm having a lot of fun, so let's keep with it. And here we are now.
Yeah, that's perfect. So you had like a pretty good background there with different music and theater, even from a young age. It's always cool to see where everybody hails from and like what they come from too, because it's so diverse and so cool. Uh,
Yeah.
what are some of hobbies that interest you? Some things that you like to do outside of voice acting?
I So I was also super into art my whole life. I still do art as a hobby, and sometimes I make my own character prints. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, it's fun. Also, there's a lot of pressure because I'm like, oh, this art can't, which it can be. I'm just putting pressure on myself. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this art can't be bad because it's going to be a print. So it has to be the best thing I can ever, yeah, whatever. And then a couple years pass, and I'm like, I don't like that old print, actually. You're always growing, so but yeah, art is a thing that I do, and I also write music. I don't have a lot of time for that anymore, but I still like to do that. Sing. I, love hiking, love a good hike, and yeah.
I always love seeing all your Twitter posts because like you have these nice
Gosh.
pictures and everything, like how you took a picture of Chicago, and it looked
Yeah.
really nice. So it was very kind of artistic in that way too.
Oh, well, thank you. I was just excited, um, to be on a boat at sunset on Lake Michigan because 'cause I'd never done that before, so
Oh,
I was like, I was just I was also enjoying the moment, but I was also just like, "I have to take pictures of this," and just,
absolutely.
had my phone out, and I was like so
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm glad you liked them.
yeah,
I liked
it's
taking them.
kind of similar a little bit. Do you have any like favorite shows, games, musicals, stuff like that that you can really pop in your head and you're just like, oh, I loved that movie or I loved that.
Oh gosh. A perennial favorite movie is The Martian.
Mm.
Um, it used to be I haven't gone on, a long, long plane flight? What? Flight, as opposed to me flapping my arms
Yeah,
across,
just
the ocean, yeah.
sure, why not?
Um, yeah, being picked up by, an eagle or something.
It would definitely
But
be
like,
more fiscally responsible that way. I can attest to that.
I mean, hey, Eagles, if you're out there, hi, fly me somewhere. But no, I haven't been on a long flight in a while, so I haven't gotten to do this. But um, it used to be that every time I was on a plane that like had movies, um, like the built-in TVs, not like
Mhm.
the go on your laptop and like meh, 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 and like we have movies for you on your own device. I would watch The Martian on every flight that was long enough for me to do that. So
Mhm.
it's just like it's a lot of things that I like in a movie. Like it's sci-fi while being grounded in reality. There's
Mhm.
some suspense, there's some comedy too. Um
Yeah, but getting back to it though, if you saw
yeah.
behind this curtain, you would see so much nerd stuff. Uh, there's
That
just
rocks.
yeah, there's just so especially Pokemon and uh My Hero stuff, One Piece. There's just a lot of
That's awesome.
yeah, I
Pokemon was
love.
one of my favorites growing up for sure. And My Hero was my my 2020 thing. Like,
Hmm.
I was like I, like, discovered it and I was like, "Well, I have nothing else to do. I'm just gonna, like, watch all of it and read all the manga." I
Mm,
haven't finished it. I
mm,
haven't finished what they've animated so far
right.
up to this point, and I haven't finished reading the manga that is now finished.
Hmm.
I will at some point, but life's a little busier than it was when we were all just sitting at home
Right.
doing nothing,
A little
so
busier than pandemic time.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right. I think now's a good time. Let's start by raising some awareness to the current SAG-AFTRA strike for the protections against AI and stuff. Uh,
Yes, thank you.
yes,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
And for anyone unsure, there's tons and plenty of resources out there from both SAG and voice actors alike, just addressing what's at stake. So, Kelsey, what is the significance of this strike, and how can we, as the fans, friends, communities, help everybody?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So, SAG was in negotiation with like a bunch of different video game publishing companies over the past almost 2 years. Um, I think I have the website right here. Oh, it's 18 months. That they have been negotiating and trying to get AI protections put into these companies' contracts with their talent, with their actors, um, so that basically the actors' performances can't be augmented um, with AI when they could have just brought the actor in for retakes and
Hmm.
paid the actor to do their job.
Right.
um, or for like the actor's voice to be used. Basically, these companies that are now being struck against, a lot of companies did accept the terms and like got it and were like, okay, cool. And since the strike started a month ago, a lot of companies have signed the interim agreements,
Hmm.
which is the agreement that the company signs if they want their project to continue working during the strike, um, with those AI protections that SAG was fighting for. Um, but So the companies that didn't accept those conditions, to echo kind of the on-camera strike that we had last year,
Hmm.
um, a lot of the controversy was that these companies were trying to sneak things into contracts and put things into contracts
Hmm.
that meant that an actor would go in, do their work. Oh my gosh, I just hit my mic. Um,
And whenever I do that,
oops.
I'm like, I'm so sorry, please.
I know. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry. But they would do their work, and then the company would then have the rights to use their voice in perpetuity,
Hmm.
like kind of feed it to an AI,
Right.
um, and then just generate their voice for whatever use. Um, this is a problem in all fields of voiceover right now, but this strike, particularly, it's a problem in like dubbing, um, in Audiobooks is a huge one because they have a
Hmm.
huge long sample of your voice to pull from.
Right.
Um, and dubbing audiobooks, commercial is the other big one. But this strike is specifically focusing, excuse me, focusing on video games. Um, so if you see voice actors talking about other stuff they've done that is not video games, that is okay. They are
Hmm.
allowed to talk about it. It's okay. Um, but yeah, so basically, non-union work, non-union actors are also still allowed to do non-union work.
Hmm.
Non-union work is not struck, but the catch is non-union work right now does not have those AI protections.
Right.
So it's like if you're non-union, you can work on these things, but be aware that you're taking a risk. And just yeah,
Yeah.
that's a risk you're gonna take, and that's on you, if you're willing to take that risk or not. So that's basically what's going on. Um, I wish I had the numbers. It's not on SAG's website, but,
Hmm.
like, there have been a lot of projects that have flipped, either from non-union and signed an interim or tiered budget agreement
Hmm.
and are, like, cool to work on, have those protections. Um And there have been a lot who were like on old SAG contracts that don't have those protections that have then signed new contracts.
Hmm.
So only a month in, and there's already been a bunch of stuff that's done that, which is great.
Yeah.
Um, and if anybody out there is an indie game developer and you're like, well, I want really cool talent to work on my game, but it's indie, so it's non-union.
Hmm.
Um, this may not be feasible, and it is not feasible for everybody. But if you are like, "Oh, I want this cool person to work on my project. I wanna send an audition to them, and I wanna, like, pay them to have their cool voice in my project." But they're SAG, I think, maybe.
Hmm.
Um, Contact Nava, Nava, who is also, I think, almost as good of a resource for information as SAG is right now, honestly. Maybe better because they just put out more information,
Hmm.
because 'cause they're a smaller organization, so they don't have to, like, approve information to be put
Right.
out to the public. They can just, like, boom, 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 boom. So, if you want updates, look at Nava. If you have an indie game and you have enough money to, like, want to hire these really cool people, talk to Nava about flipping your game because it is kind of a tricky process to flip your game, but Nava is so, so good at guiding you through that process and helping and, like, speaking on your behalf to SAG. So, and also, even if you don't have that much money, like, the SAG tiered budget agreements, there are different tiers of budgets, and they can go down to, like, indie rates. They can help you save money on the front end, and then if your game blows up and is huge, then people make money on the back end, so you don't
Hmm.
have to pay people as much up front. But if it never explodes, you don't have to do that. So, that's just a little extra piece if there are any game devs out there who wanna do that, because there are options for everybody. But yeah, so, people can learn more information from NAVA's website, again, NAVA, or SAG-AFTRA's website, or just, like, voice actor Twitter.
Yeah.
Is weirdly, as I'm sure you know, Twitter
Yeah.
is, like, a weird hub for voiceover. So, yeah, lots of information there. And thank you for giving me time to just yap about this because it's super important as much as I'm just, like, kinda going on. It is all very important stuff for the future
Absolutely.
of our careers.
Absolutely. And it goes way beyond that too. Like obviously we want to make sure you all have your careers for forever. Obviously, we don't want it. We got to think about it from like us as the consumer. Like the quality is never going to be there in AI. It's we need real talented, amazing voice actors like yourself portray the characters and the games that we love. So it's very important. I thank you very much for sharing all of that with us, and I'll make sure to put all of the links and everything in the
Thank
description
you.
below. Yes, absolutely. So
Um,
if you are all curious check out the description. Check out the description. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks again. Thank you so much for sharing all that.
Yeah. Um, and to add to your point about like the quality of performances,
Hmm.
maybe in a couple years the performance of the AI will sound really good, but it will never be ethical. It will,
Exactly.
if things keep going the way they're going for how these companies want to use AI, like it will never be ethical. People will never be paid as much as they deserve to be paid. Um, and it will never, at the end of the day, come from a human intention. Even if
Hmm.
it sounds like it does, there's what you hear behind that performance is
Right.
corporate greed and not a human. So, yeah,
Yeah. That's
that's
another.
it.
That's
I'm done now. Stepping off my soapbox.
no. You can anytime that you want. We can totally dive into it more. But yeah, that's another fantastic point. Absolutely. Let's switch gears a little bit.
Yeah.
Thanks again for sharing all of that. That's great.
Thank
And
you for letting me.
yeah,
I could talk
absolutely.
about this all day. This has been my life for a month and will continue to be. So, like, yeah.
Absolutely. I want to spread awareness and resources and everything as much as I can. So, uh, but of course, as we get to know more about Jane and see even more of your stellar performance, but how did
Yeah.
your portrayal of Jane kind of evolve into what it's become now? Like, has it always been kind of the same, or did you find reference or anything special?
Yeah. So, honestly, it has been, it's what you hear in the game is pretty close to like what my initial audition was. My initial audition, I actually made her voice like way deeper. I don't know why I did that, but I was just like, I don't know, like instead of so Jane's voice is a little lower than mine. It's kind of down here. But I had her down here. And they were like, "Don't do that. Let's hear you try it like a bit higher than that." And then I did and they were like, "Sold." And I was like, "Cool." Um and then yeah, some of the references because you mentioned in your email like what were the references and I was like, "We did have references." Even though it was largely the same as my audition,
Mm.
we mentioned like oh gosh, like the entire female cast of Kill Bill was
Mm.
mentioned, and, Meg from Hercules was,
Oh.
like, a big influence, like, we kept bringing her up. Um, and there's even a line of mine that, like, I it's well, no spoilers,
Yeah.
but, yep, no spoilers, but there's a line that Jane says where I'm like, "Oh, that it sounds like I'm doing an impression of Meg from
Mm.
Hercules," which I don't if people don't know that when they're listening to it, so it's like, people wouldn't know that, but I hear it and I'm like, "Oh, we were talking about Meg that day, weren't we?" And then the warden from Holes also
Mm.
came up. Um, yeah, those were the main references, I would say.
That's a
Um,
really good pool. That's a really cool pool to pull from.
yeah, I agree. I agree, yeah. Um I was honored to be playing a character like that because usually I play, like, the very, like, sunshiny characters. Either I play characters that are like oh gosh. "Hi there! Are you ready to go on an adventure? I sure am. Let's go, silly! What are you waiting for?" Like, I play those characters a lot, and then I also, on the other side, play, like, characters that have gone through deep trauma and, like, scream and cry a lot. Um, so Jane is neither of those, which is
Yeah.
so fun. I just kinda get to be like a little badass, and I'm like, "I love this." So I had a lot of fun.
She's definitely a badass. We can definitely attest to that.
Oh, yeah.
Meg is really interesting because now that you mention it, it's like I could kind of see that. Like Meg's
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
a badass too from Hercules. So like, okay, I see it.
Yeah, she's a badass. She just, like is a human among gods, so there's not much she can do because she's just like, "I can't fight these people. I can't do X, Y, and Z thing."
Mhm.
But yeah.
That just means that everybody who hasn't needs to hurry up and go play the new chapter so they can get all of the no more spoilers so they can go ahead and
Nope.
play that chapter.
Oh, yeah. Undercover R&B, which I don't know what that stands for because there's not any R&B music that I could hear in it. It is good music, no spoilers, but
The entire OST is fantastic.
it's
Love the
so
OST.
good. It's so good. I was literally just thinking today about, like, the fact that this is unrelated, but I mean,
That's why.
kind of related.
No, it's totally fine.
Um, okay. Um, Sumeru's soundtrack, like, literally sounds like my childhood and makes me cry. I'm like, "Man, the people writing this are not even from South Asia," but I hear it and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh." So, they make great music.
They do, and so during the ramp up to launch, they had the opening music video, and I was like, where the heck did this come from? It's fantastic, amazing. They got
Mhm.
Tiesto, and I was like,
Yeah.
I
I was
listen
like,
to Tiesto on the daily, so like I guess these
"That's
songs.
awesome." Yeah, I was like, "What?"
There was somebody commented on one of the videos. It was like, dang, Hoyoverse does a really good job of making music games, and it's like it's not even a music game, but it's like, yeah, absolutely,
Rhythm game when?
yeah, a Zenless Star Rail Genshin rhythm game. That'd be so sick. Oh my gosh,
They do keep doing rhythm game mini games though. Like, they had
they
one in
do.
Genshin a couple months ago, and then there was just one in ZZZ.
Hmm.
So, I'm like, I hope I hope this is a direction you're planning on going in, because
Yeah,
like, that would be really cool.
have like a spin off game or something like
Yeah.
that'd be kind of sick. I instantly buy it.
Right?
Oh yeah. Switching it up from Jane though. What are some other works roles that you've personally enjoyed?
Well, some of my favorite things I've ever done, I cannot talk about. Both because
Understandable.
of both because of this strike, and
Hmm.
more importantly and more, uh, pressingly, they're not out yet,
Right.
so
Definitely
but
don't want to tread on any NDAs or anything here.
never
Absolutely not.
ever. But so, um, my personal favorites are yet to come, um, though every single thing is special to me because 'cause I'm just happy
Hmm.
to be able to work and do these things at all, so,
Hmm.
like, it's all gravy, but Uh, Yaoyao in Genshin
Mm.
was a favorite of mine. She, first of all, was like, I love playing little kids so much. Like, I get to play like peppy young people, but I
Mm.
rarely ever get to play like tiny children. So I was like, yes. Um, she's adorable and I love her. Um, and she opened doors for me, which was really cool, honestly. That was like the first thing I booked that I think people are, like, aware of,
Mm.
you know what
Hmm.
I mean?
Yeah, like it
Um,
just kind of how it's a bigger audience almost, kind of bigger grandiose scale a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah. So, that was cool. Um, Also Isla in Punishing Gray Raven, um, love her. Um, and else? I mean, there's so many.
Hmm.
Like, there's it was only for an event, but in the game Path to Nowhere, I got to play, like, the villain of this, like, event, and I
Ooh.
got to, like, go through she was, like, very, like, she was a sadistic chef that, like,
Oh.
wanted to, like, cook and eat people, so she, like, designed this whole, like, game, like, it was, like, this, like, "Oh, party on an island, it's, like, this tasting menu for every day," or whatever, that we're all staying on this island, but it was secretly, like, the Hunger Games, kind
Oh
of,
my goodness.
and then she had a crush on the main character lady of that who was, like, the new person to be out that update, and it was like it was so fun, and she was like, "The person who survives till the end of this is the person's who's worthy of me cooking and serving to this woman I have a crush on.
Huh.
And and it was, like, so insane. And, I got to, like, have, like, a full mental breakdown and, like, be, like, screaming and crying,
Hmm.
which I do a lot. But then also, got to, like, go fully, like, "Oh, she's lost her marbles," which was also very fun. And then another one that comes to mind is the movie The First Slam Dunk. I was
Mm.
the dub voice of Ayako. It's on Netflix now, which it took forever to come out on streaming, but it's on Netflix now, so
Hmm.
everybody go watch it. Um, but yeah, that movie in 2022, I think was the I hope I'm not lying, but I'm pretty sure it was the number 1, not just animated, but number 1 movie in both Japan and China in 2022. And then
That sounds right.
it didn't
I
get
think
as
so.
much traction here, but it is so good. And, Ayako is, like, there's not a lot of female characters, but Ayako is, like, aside from the mom, the female character that, like, talks the most, so I was very honored. Slam Dunk is a franchise that's been around since, like, the '80s,
Right.
so I was just like, "This is so cool." The movie is just so cool too, like, the animation, the way they use it is, like, you're like, "Oh, sports anime movie," but, like, a lot of it is, like, 3D rotoscoped. They're trying to make it look 2D, but and you're like, "Oh, cool," but it's just, like, basketball. But the way it's written makes you feel like you're watching an actual basketball game and then having, like, little, like, remembering little, like, memory life
Mm.
things in like, as you're watching this basketball game. And they also do cool things like tracking the ball as it bounces between someone's legs, which is, like,
Oh, okay.
you could literally never do that in live action without using CGI. So it
Hmm.
was, like,
Yeah.
very cool. Yeah. Highly recommend you watch it. It's just a good movie.
Yeah,
Don't watch
absolutely.
it for me, watch it because it's a good ass movie.
That's what I'm saying. I'm making a mental note of it right now because I've seen it. Like I've seen it around and then like every like on Netflix. It's like, hey, you should watch this, and I was like, looks pretty good. I never got around to watching it.
Right,
Now
there's so much out there.
now I definitely have to go watch it. And
Well, I
so
hope
should
I'm
all
not
of
hyping it
you.
up too much.
No, I love that kind of thing anyway. So
Oh, nice.
I'm a big sport.
Sports anime are so good. I
They
wish there were more
are.
female-centric sports anime
Yeah,
that got popular. That would be
absolutely.
so fun. Anyway, that's separate. That's just something I want to see in the
Yeah.
media.
Still on the voice acting, what led you to wanting to pursue your acting career, both on camera, theater background, and voice acting in general?
This sounds like this sounds so shonen protagonist of me, but, like, it's truly, like, the thing that I always come back to no matter what else I've ever done. It's
Mhm.
the thing that I always come back to, and it's the thing that I think that I'm best at. So I was like, "You know what? This is a very risky career, but, like,
Absolutely.
I gotta give it a shot because it's what I love, and I think it's what I do well out of everything else that I can do, so let's do it." And I'm glad that I kept coming back to it because it is so far it's working out pretty well, and I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, that's amazing, and to have something like that that you can just love and cherish forever. That's a great thing to have. Yeah, but so with your early voice acting career and such, was there any kind of like aha moments that really helped emphasize that you really wanted that this is what you wanted to do? Like, uh, was there any particular moment that you're just like you said, you keep coming back to it and stuff because you love it, but uh, was there any like that aha moment that was just like, yeah, absolutely, this is 100%. I have to do this.
I mean, it was kind of like a very persistent, like, building up like, everything I was doing,
Sure.
like, when I
Yeah.
worked, like, part-time jobs, it was like, I'm saving money to be able to do this full time. But making the jump to full time was really scary.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, it was really scary. I really took a leap of faith, and it took, like, 6 months before I, like, started, like, booking before I started getting, like, more than, like, an audition a month,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Was that a mistake?" Like, I had money saved up, but I was like, "I don't know if this was a mistake or not," like, 'cause I felt, like, discouraged because I was like, "Oh, like,
Mhm.
so many people are working on so many things, and I don't know how to get into those doors." But, you just keep going and keep putting feelers out there, keep putting out good auditions, and things happen. So, it was a while though, like a while.
Mhm.
But I was just like, "You know what? If I want to keep doing this sounds like so dumb, but like if I want to keep doing this, I have to keep doing this.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I'm going to go back to teaching voice and being like, because you never know when auditions are gonna come in.
Right.
So, like, I'm gonna just keep teaching voice, and I'm gonna be, like, out in the suburbs teaching and have an audition due the next morning, and my voice is gonna be shot by the time I get home. I'm not gonna be able to do it, and it's just the cycle will repeat itself, so I just gotta do it.
Mhm. Similarly, for anyone who kind of is starting their journey in this realm, that sees all you fantastic actors and is like, "Oh, I want to do that too. That would be I'd love it. I want to do that." What would be kind of your advice to them, or both for how to be successful and just in general, how to be what makes a good aspiring voice actor?
Yeah. I mean, well, I guess there's 2 components that are coming to my brain that are, like, probably the most important. Um, I would say it's probably, well, the skill,
Mm. Mhm.
like the skill and the love for it. Like, if you don't love it,
Absolutely.
you're not willing to do the work it takes to build up the skill,
Right.
and then what are we doing? Go do something else that makes you happier.
Mhm.
And even if you do love it and you get into it and you're like, "This is the work and stress is outweighing any love I have for this or any
Mhm.
patience I have for this," maybe do it as a hobby. You can do it as a hobby and it can be fulfilling, but if it's making everything worse for you, you don't have to do it full time to do it in a fulfilling way. Um, but with that said, to build up that skill, people don't like hearing this, you gotta take classes.
Mhm.
Whether that's with a local theater, um, or like even like improv classes can be so helpful if you're like, oh, like regular theater's boring. I don't want to like memorize a Shakespeare monologue, which that's not the case for all theater
Mm.
classes. Just
Right.
like like there's a lot more like easy and fun ones, I guess.
Mhm.
Although I think Shakespeare's pretty fun.
I think
Um,
Shakespeare's pretty cool.
yeah, like iambic pentameter, everybody speaks like not necessarily rhyming, but in a specific rhythm. That's so cool.
Mhm.
Everybody's just rapping all the time.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I would love to see Shakespeare perform that way. By the way, that'd
Yeah,
be
that
sick.
would be sick.
That'd be so sick. But yeah, taking classes is super important. Local theaters, or if you're not near a theater or you can't afford that, there's like acting exercises on YouTube online that are super helpful. Try to like join. There are like there's voice acting club, which is fantastic. It's a website and forum where there's like peer auditions. Um, there's like advice on like industry stuff, how to get into like indie stuff. There's also a Discord server for it, so you
Mm.
can like be in community, meet people, learn about new opportunities and classes and things. Um, yeah, taking classes, getting connected, probably the 2 most important things you can do to build up those skills and that network, because network is also important. Um, can't audition for anybody if you don't get auditions. You can't get
Right.
auditions if you don't know who's sending them out. So, um, and then the other thing I would say is just patience
Mm.
and self-confidence. Like, it sucked not getting that many auditions or, like, knowing I did really well on an audition and then not getting it and being like, "Oh, well, shoot, don't know when I'm gonna have another audition because I'm just starting out and I
Hmm.
don't know where to find these." Um, and like, it's also learning to, like, let go and kinda be zen about things. Like, most things you audition for, you are not going to book.
Hmm.
Like, in the pre-strike time, because now is a little different,
Hmm.
I probably booked 2 auditions a month on average, and I was sending out probably anywhere between, like, 7 and 15 auditions a week. So, like, you're not gonna book most things that you
Right.
audition for. So you can't, like, be so precious with everything you do.
Hmm.
Literally just get in there, don't second guess yourself, have fun,
Right.
do things a couple times to get, like, the best result you think you can do without being, like, too in your head, because then it's not gonna be good, and you're gonna be upset about it no matter what,
Right.
and send it and do your best to just forget about it. The job is essentially auditioning,
Hmm.
um, and being ready to do the damn thing when you get booked. So just have fun. Enjoy the auditioning,
Right.
because if you're not gonna put out good stuff, and you're just gonna compare yourself to everybody else.
Hmm.
Believe in your abilities, because even if you're like, "Oh, well, I didn't go to school for theater," you bring something. Everyone has a unique lived experience,
Right.
and no matter what someone's experience with acting is, everybody brings don't do what you think they're wanting to hear. Bring your lived experience, because nobody else has that. Nobody else has your perspective. So you are always going to be valuable. Um, whether you believe it or not, but you should believe it. Otherwise, you might have a bad time. And I don't
Right.
want you to have a bad time. So, yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for that advice. That's spectacular. It's really, especially in like any creative form, being
Yeah.
confident is like probably one of the toughest things, but also very, very important. With all of your experiences with fans, how have all of the communities you've interacted with, and both, of course, Zenless, Genshin, and any of the others, uh, how have they been? Have you really enjoyed all of the experiences?
I mean, yeah. People are some people online are super nice, some people are not. That's
Sure.
just life.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, people it's really cool seeing how enthusiastic people get about, like, video games in particular, I think, because, like, when they interact with a character you voiced, they are piloting the main character
Hmm.
that interacts with these characters, so there's, like, a connection there. They feel like they're interacting with the character themselves instead of watching, like, the character's story play out. Um, and, like, it's really like, people are, like, very vocal with video games
Oh
in
yeah.
general, which is, like, for better or for worse, like I said. But I think the coolest thing for me, especially because I also do art, is the fan art.
Right.
'Cause that allows the audience to be part of the creation of this world.
Right.
Like, art like, a product, a video game, doesn't exist in a vacuum, and, like, everybody's gonna perceive it in a different way. So when people make, like, fan art or fan fiction even, like,
Hmm.
anything that is inspired by the product, the art they've seen,
Right.
you're just helping to extend that. So it's I think what's really cool is that, like, everybody who creates those kinds of things or appreciates those kinds of things is a part of the creative process of making the thing a thing.
Absolutely.
So it
Yeah.
just feels like a giant creative community, and it's super neat.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like, and it's that, especially in video games, where everybody kind of has, growing up or even nowadays, everybody has like a line or a connection or a character that they just love and that they can connect with on like such a deep level in general, or that inspires them to even be artistic or something.
And like you, I love that you also are a big Pokemon person. I'm a huge Pokemon person.
I love Pokemon. It's by far it's the most prevalent thing in this room. Is just like yesterday, my local game shop had Grookey, a Grookey plushie from Jenny.
Oh,
So I'm like,
I love Grookey.
well, I came to get a controller. It looks like I'm leaving with a Grookey.
Looks
So
like I'm leaving with a child.
yeah, it looks like I'm leaving with a Grookey, a Squirtle, and who else did I grab?
Children, then.
Yeah, multiple children, especially.
Come along, kids. We're leaving the game store. I mean, that was like the first. No, Sailor Moon was the first anime that I watched, and then Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, they were kind of at the same time. I would just make my parents like rent me everything Pokemon and Sailor Moon from Blockbuster.
Blockbuster.
Oh yeah, and it was a great time. But like that was watching Pokemon and trying to imitate everybody's voices was like the first time I realized I could like kind of do weird voices too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would walk around doing like a Pikachu voice and like an Ash Ketchum voice so
Oh my
often.
gosh.
So like yeah. So that Pokemon also like holds a special place for me because it's kind of what made me like put that seed in my head of like maybe I could do voice acting at some point. Maybe.
Would you like to go ahead and show us the Pikachu or Ash Ketchum? You don't have to if you don't want to. Don't feel pressured.
No, sure.
Should I grab Pikachu as well? Should I grab a Pikachu? I have
if you
plenty of
would like.
Pikachus. I have tons of Pikachus over here.
If you would like.
Yeah. Should
I would be honored to have the presence of Pikachu with us tonight.
Big chonker Pikachu.
Yeah, look at him. Oh, he does not want to stand up.
He's not
like,
very
it's nap
standy.
time.
There we go.
Oh, look at him. Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
I would put him here, but he's kind of heavy, and it would just the whole entire boom arm.
Oh yeah,
there.
you'd be speaking like, hello, 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 hello.
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
He's staring into my soul. All right. Okay, so Ash Ketchum.
From Pallet Town, specifically.
From okay, I'll say that then.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ash Ketchum from Pallet Town. I love my Pikachu. Pikachu, go! Use Thunderbolt!
That's a little Ash Ketchum, and then
Pikachu.
Wow.
Pika Pika.
I would just walk around my house doing that. I'm sure my mom loved it.
Oh, there he goes. Those are
Okay.
fantastic.
Oh, why, thank you. I've been practicing them since I was 6.
So, Kelsey, where can we find and support you online?
So, I am on Twitter, the Voice Actor Hub, as Kelatonin, which is just melatonin with a K. And then I'm gonna get back to streaming soon because I have a
Ooh.
new gaming laptop. Because my old laptop did not work for streaming
Oh, no.
anymore. It did, and then it stopped. Oh my gosh, I was on a stream with some friends, and we were on Discord for the voice chat, and we were playing Uno, and I was playing in real time with them, but like my audio had a 20-minute delay
Oh my goodness.
in Discord. It was wild. So I was like, okay, this is not going to work anymore, but going to be doing that again soon. Hopefully by the time this comes out, I will have established at least some kind of a schedule. But I'm on Twitch also as Kelatonin, same thing. That's kind of it. I'm other places too, but I don't really. Those are the two things I use the most. So
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, and I'll put all the links. It'll be flashing wherever on the video somewhere, and also in the description. You already know about it in the description.
I know.
But yeah, thank you so much. I guess one more thing we got to do was also call back to SAG-AFTRA again with all the
Yes.
links and everything. Voice Actor Hub, so many voice actors and so many good resources out there, both on Twitter and SAG and Nava. Put all of them in the description for all of you. Is there anything else you would like to discuss for that?
I think we covered everything. Just like I would like to have a job in the future. And there are so many other things that AI is being used for. I recently saw an article, good, helpful things that I think
Mm-hmm.
that should be where the energy should go, perhaps.
Right.
Like I just saw an article recently that some doctors used AI in their I don't know what kind of scan, if it was a CAT scan or what, to detect breast cancer in a person 5 years before it developed.
Right.
And they were, like, watching it, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, that's breast cancer." So, like, it can be incredible. It can help save people's lives. So, continuing to either publicly support the SAG-AFTRA interactive strike or just educate yourself about it or, like, sending a link to a friend
Mm-hmm.
is helpful in kind of taking some of the energy away from exploiting creatives, which is what a lot of AI is doing right now,
Right.
is attempting to take over for artists and actors, both voice
Mm-hmm.
actors and on-screen writers, because our society values revenue and sees creatives as dispensable.
Right.
Um, but I don't wanna watch an AI-generated movie, play an AI-generated video game, so
Mm-hmm.
even just educating yourself about these things or clicking on one of the links is, like, so huge in helping move the needle of the energy towards AI in the right
Right.
direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, those will all be posted everywhere on the video here, especially in the description. Uh, and thank you again for sharing that.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you, and I had a lot of fun. So thank you so much for coming onto the video today.
I did too, thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved having our little conversation here. It was great fun, and yeah, just thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I will see all of you in the next video. Bye for now.